There are times when I've recorded this show or thought about this show and I've been like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through to this next season, but whew, woosah. But a lot of time, every time that I kind of felt like this was going to be like, okay, I don't know how long I can do this, or I'm not liking the growth, or I'm not liking this, I'm not liking that. Someone always makes a comment on one of the recent videos saying, "Oh, I'm so glad I found you guys. Oh, I really love this conversation." And so those things kind of help me feel like, okay, so what we're doing is actually working.
What's good, fam? And welcome to Just Drawz. This is a show hosted by two black gay men who are smart, sometimes funny, and not afraid to say the quiet parts out loud.
We talk life, love, sex, culture, mental health, politics, pop culture,
and everything in between. So whether you're here to laugh, learn, heal, or just feel seen,
you're in the right place. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Just Drawz, the space where real conversations live and performative nonsense does not. We keep it raw, vulnerable, and stripped down. And that's right. It's RVSD, and I'm your host, Jeff, today, half of the Just Drawz podcast. I'm doing my Get to Know Me, so you've already seen Darius's, so I'm going to do mine. All right, so let's just get right into it. But first, gotta acknowledge where we're coming from today, or where I'm coming from today. I'm coming from, let's see, RVSD headquarters. RVSD headquarters. All right. So again, I am Jeff, and I can be reached at Jeff Levels Up. That's at Twitter and on Instagram. So let's get right into today's episode, getting to know me and what I am about here on this podcast. All right. So who am I? How do I identify? So I'm black, first and foremost. That's the first thing that you see. I'm gay, and I identify as a man, male, he, him, cis, as they would say. I guess I'm part of the queer community. I started to use that term a lot more often since it seems to be what people use a lot these days. But I'm okay with saying that I'm queer. I'm okay with saying that I'm SGL. Gay is just easier. People kind of get it right off the top. I took a long time accepting myself inside to be able to say that. I've been proudly out for the last 10 plus years now. Before I would say that I was like discreet, but not DL, just discreet. I didn't like let everybody know that I was gay. But if you knew, you knew. If you didn't, you didn't. If you figured it out, you did. And that's great. No problem. But yeah, so that's where I'm at today. I'm one of those people that, as personality trait wise, sometimes I kind of feel a little bit misunderstood. I am an introvert. So doing things like this kind of projects a little bit more of my outgoingness sometimes, which is kind of hard for me. I have to really think about it. But, when I turn on the mic, turn on the camera and hit record and get myself woosah'd into the mode to do this show, I feel like I turn it on. And then once I'm doing that, I feel like I'm really the more, what I want to say, more active, more extroverted type. I'm able to be a little bit more of a host, you would say. Just kind of like a lot more outgoing when I'm doing this show versus if you were to meet me like on the street. Because if you meet me on the street, I'm probably going to be looking like all kind of crazy and like mean. Because some people say, I'm not going to say some people say, I say I have resting bitch face. And like, it's very interesting when people, I meet folks and they'll meet me and my boyfriend at the same time. And like, they're a lot easier, or they take a lot more easier or warmer welcoming to talk with him versus me. Like, they just will not ask me questions. Like, they'll ask him questions and then it'll get filtered through him, and then he'll ask me what it is. But it's okay. I don't bite or anything. I don't know why people don't like talking to me. But I will say, it does take me a while to warm up to people. I'm not the most welcoming when we first meet. I got to feel you out. If I feel like you're okay. I don't see auras like my best friend does. But sometimes, it does takes me a little while to kind of be like, okay, let me see what you're really about. Are you here to just kind of, try to take advantage of me? Is there something else that's going on? Like, I got to figure out what's going on here. Like, do you really want to get to know me or something else going on? So, I guess it's just my way of protecting myself. And it also kind of leads into another part of my personality, which is being cynical. I'm one of those people that have always been like in the background of things, or in the front of certain things. So as a person that grew up being one of those gifted kids, you kind of put in Front Street to, oh, do this play, read this recital thing, all these little things that they want you to do because you're one of the smart people, or you have a certain way that you speak or how your tone is. And so they want to put you up in the front. And sometimes you don't want to do that shit. I didn't want to do that stuff. I just never really felt like it was my spotlight. But, I was never one of those popular people growing up, and that's okay. And I think, this format and this platform kind of lets more of my personality shine out, and I can be less of a hard shell person. And that cynicism, while it's still there, I'm more aware and conscious of it now. So I do my best to not be a detective all the time, but sometimes I just can't help myself, you know? But, I want to switch over to something a little bit more positive about my personality, and that is that I can be kind of silly and joke a lot. So if you're in my inner circle, you've seen that. Not everybody gets to see that because not everybody is going to be in the inner circle, and not everything is for everybody, and that's okay. But it's just what it is. So I'll joke and laugh over silly things. We've got an episode coming up where one of the things that I've found very silly, and will just crack me up and have me crying, rolling on the floor, comes up. So I can't wait for when that episode airs. You'll be able to see a little bit of what those things that kind of like drive me crazy like that. So yeah, I'm many things. I'm many different things. Of course, I do this podcast. I read, I cook, I bake. I have a lot of different things that I like to do, and we'll get into all of that and how those things kind of like go well with my personality. But I'm different things to different people at different times, and not everybody's going to get the same Jeff at the same time. They're going to see there's going to be different versions of me that you get as we get through the different circles and I get through the layers and feel what I can reveal to you. All right, so let's talk about my family background. I'm from a small southern town in Mississippi. I don't even think we had 50,000 people in the county when I graduated high school. So yeah, not small. I mean, it's just not big at all. Just a little small, teeny wincy town. I think you could drive through our town in less than like 4 miles in width. But because it is across or it's on the Mississippi River, Vicksburg, it developed more north and south. So, would develop across the river like this. So it didn't have to necessarily be wide, which is kind of interesting, that type of topography. But anyway, so being from Mississippi and having moved to the big city of Atlanta, Atlanta was not my first goal or first choice. It's just where I ended up at the time for my career or what my career goals were. I don't ever plan on moving back to Mississippi, but I will say as an expatriate of Mississippi that I find myself defending my state a lot online because y'all do not like Mississippi at all. And I get it, movies, TV, you hear things online and see the politics of the state. I'm going to say it's not the most welcoming. But if you're from there and you get to know people, you can see that it's really not what the media kind of gives it. Yeah, there's some bullshit that happens in my home state. But for the most part, it's filled with good people, with good intentions. The problem is that we don't have the right people with empathy with the power. The people that have the power don't have the empathy. And, that's just one of those things that until people kind of get off their butts and start voting and demanding more, they're always going to get what they always going to get because they always vote for the same people in and out in office all the time. They never vote those people out. We've got people that have been city councilmen in some of these cities for years and years, and they wonder why things don't change. Well, you got to change up your people and your representatives if you want that change to come. But having Southern roots kind of gives me what I want to say, like a certain way of life that I'm used to living. And I said this in another episode where I don't really, when I've gone and dated people, I found myself or people that were potential dates or and whatnot, and just getting to know them, I normally find myself gravitating towards the people that are from the South, less so people that are from up north. I know some cool people up north, and you know who you are, and some cool people that I've met from the West Coast, but very few and far between. I can count those people on like one hand. But it is what it is. What I'm used to and how different people are used to different things and how people grow up and generationally and things like that. You know, that's just what I'm used to. I'm gonna move on now to what I love. I am a gamer. I like to play video games. I've always played video games. The first time that I saw a Pac-Man machine, I was just like, "Oh, this is so much fun! I love this." Little kid, finding a quarter. I used to dig through the couch looking for quarters. I would steal quarters to run across the street and play Pac-Man. I really love that game. It really kind of like crystallized what my interests were at the time. I do have a brother and sister. They're very much older than me. They're like 10 or 11 and 14 years older than me. So I didn't really have them growing up in the household. So I think video games were kind of like my escape and were giving me the entertainment that I needed at the time because I was always, by myself. Like I would read books as a kid, but video games were just kind of like it. So we want to fast forward on to when Miss Pac-Man came out, Super Miss Pac-Man, especially the mod. It's not an official game from Namco, the creators of Pac-Man. But I would wear Miss Pac-Man out. And if I had an opportunity, usually I would not pass a Miss Pac-Man machine without trying to get the high score. So if I see the high score is less than 100,000, I'm going to try to get it. I actually set a record on a machine at a game conference a couple of years ago. So that was fun. So as technology moved on and games got better, I moved on, of course, to the Street Fighters, the Ninja Turtles, the Simpsons. But one genre of games that was brand new to the States were music games, where it's basically a rhythm game. The music plays, you match the game notes to it, like Dance Dance Revolution, DDR, and Beatmania 2DX, my favorite music game. Very niche, very Japanesey, but very much love those games and the music that's in them. So that leads up to another thing that I like. I do like music, which is just like my best friend. I grew up in the 80s, so of course we had MTV, we had BET, we had VH1, we had Video Soul, Video Vibrations, Friday Night Videos. we weren't I wasn't restricted by the genre of just being black and listening to R&B all the time. I could listen to whatever I wanted to. So yeah, I would listen to Mike. I would listen to Madonna. I listened to Janet. I listened to the hair bands. So all of that kind of fuses together. So because I like pop music and I like R&B music and rap and hip hop, I've never really felt like I had to just listen to anything that was always like mainstream. So a lot of my favorite artists aren't even like the mainstream. Of course, I like Janet, I like Beyonce, but I also listen to artists that are kind of like under the radar, like a Jay Brown or a Carly Rae Jepsen. Some of the UK artists, some of the UK early 2000s group bands that are kind of like you would say would be like a K-pop band now, but multi or not necessarily homogendered. They'd have women and men in them. Liberty X was one of my favorite bands from the early 2000s over there in the UK. So I like their music, especially when the two-step I think genre came out. I was really into them. So outside of music and gaming, I like to cook. As I mentioned before, I like to bake. I like the science of baking because it makes things consistent. Like, you can't bake a cake and mess it up. Like once you put everything together, it's pretty much it goes into the oven. If you've done everything right, it's going to be consistent and it comes out perfectly. But if you miss out one thing, the whole thing just comes to it's done. Like you can't like recover. Like one time I remember baking some brownies and I forgot the eggs. Let me tell you, if you ever leave eggs out of a baked good or something like that, because that's your leavening, that's what's going to cause it to rise, you're just going to end up with some slop. It's not cute. You can't fix it. You can't make it better. Like once it's in the oven, like it's done. Because of the precariousness of that and that process of baking, for me, it's very therapeutic. So yeah, I like to bake. I like cookies. I like cakes. Those are the two things that I like to bake the most, especially cookies. They're very simple. They come out quick and you can eat them like right away almost. A cake, you have to wait on it to cool down. So you can't like really get into it. So while it's, excuse me, while it's good as something to feed a crowd, I can't just be like, oh, like it's Saturday night. Let me whip up a cake. Like, yeah, you could do that, but it's Saturday night. Let me whip up some cookies. I can have some cookies in the oven in like 20 minutes. It's not that hard or difficult to do. So yeah, outside of that, in my spare time, cooking and gaming kind of come together. But also with this podcast, this also kind of comes into the creative part of me. I am a computer science major, so being more technical, I didn't really get to do a lot of creative things. So doing this podcast is actually a creative outlet for me. But in addition to that, I get to figure out what works best, how to run these editing programs, put these graphics on the screen and all that stuff. And it's actually kind of fun. I, as a person that was not trained in this stuff and just kind of like learned as I go, I got to say, I got a whole new respect for video editors, the people that put the letters on the screen, for your newscasts, like those people. Yeah, I have a whole new respect for y'all because I was like, how do you do this? How do you do this? And thankfully to YouTube and TikTok, I've learned how to do or figured out how to like meddle my way through some things. Because if you look at this show from the beginning and how things were and where we are now, the quality has definitely gone up a lot. I mean, that's part of the technology and what we started to use to create this podcast. But even with like the graphics on the screen, the animation for the season 4 intro, like all of that is brand new. And that's something that the intro that we did for prior to season 4, season 2 and season 3 were outsourced. The one that I created, well, actually, I created or did the animation for the letters and all that stuff for the season 4. So I'm very proud of that. There's places where I feel like I could have done it a little bit better. But yeah, just using Canva, I was able to create that. And it was very fun learning how to do that. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to use that technique and other things. Another thing that I used to do, relating back to music, was I was really into like mashups of songs where we would take one song and two songs rather and put them together. So you may have like the bass line and melody of song A with the lyrics and the chorus of song B and putting that together, kind of like what a DJ does, but in a digital audio workstation. So I wouldn't call myself a DJ at all, but that was also a fun thing that I used to do in the early 2000s. So I have a couple of songs that are on YouTube. I'm not going to link them to you on this. If you find them, great. But I have a couple of mashups that I think maybe 4 or 5 out here on the internet. They're not very popular at all. And if you're not into like early 2000s pop and dance music, they're probably not going to be of any interest of you at all anyway. But learning how to do that actually was able to translate the process of that into the editing process that we do here at Just Drawz. So a lot of the software kind of works the same. You just got to look for the different terminologies and the different ways that they kind of handle some of these processes. So yeah, so I do like working on the creative part of this show. It's been very fun. And I'm looking forward to doing more with that. So that's a little bit about me for this episode. But I do have some questions that you guys were so fondly able to give me. And we're going to get to that right now. And I'm laughing because some of these questions were a lot. So one of the questions that I got was, what makes you tick? And I really wasn't sure like what context this was coming from, just because I was like, well, is this in a like something that makes me mad? Is it not like an ick, I guess? But what kind of drives me? And that was another question. So I had two things: what makes me tick, and what drives me in 2026 and beyond. So I'm gonna say tomorrow, knowing that I don't have as many of them as I have yesterdays at this point in my life, and that's okay. I've totally accepted that. But I still am at a point where I know that, hey, there's still goals that I want to achieve, and there's things that I want to do, there's places I want to go, and things I want to see. And so the promise of tomorrow kind of helps me get through that, because I always have something that I can look forward to. No matter how bad the day gets, I know that, hey, tomorrow I got to reset. I can try to do something about it to get to this goal and achieve this thing and move on forward to whatever is going to be next. Okay, so those were the nice, safe for work questions that I got. But I did get some NSFW, not safe for work questions. So if you are listening to this at work or a mixed company, this may be the time to shut off and come back later on. All right. So one of the questions that I got was, when was the last time you had mind blowing sex? So I'm going to say last week. Every time me and my boyfriend get together sexually, it's always a good time. And so we've kind of, we know what each other likes in this going on 2 years that we've been together, and it's been all good. So every time is always good. The other question that I got was, has anyone ever asked you to sit on their face? Yes, yes, that has happened before. So yeah, I'm just gonna answer that as a simple yes question. This is a yes or no question. So yes, I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah, I wish y'all had given me a little bit more safe for work questions, but that was pretty much all I got. So I thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out today. So thanks for listening to me and watching me ramble on today. I know it was a lot. You could have used your time to do other things, but hey, you're here with me. But I appreciate you, and I appreciate you watching this episode. We've recently crossed over the 600 member or 600 subscriber mark on YouTube. And so that's a really big deal for us. We are on season 4, and it's been a grassroots effort to get this podcast to where it is today. We were not an overnight success, and we still got a long way to go, but we do appreciate those 600 plus of you who have been rocking with us since day one, and all the newcomers. We're almost at the point where we will be able to get the first level of YouTube monetization. So that is great. I'm looking forward to what opportunities that can give us. And just seeing, how far we can take this thing into the future. There's another RSVD. I want to be vulnerable with you again. And that is, there are times when I've recorded this show or I've thought about this show and I've been like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through to this next season, but woosah. But a lot of time, every time that I kind of felt like this was going to be like, okay, I don't know how long I can do this, or I'm not liking the growth, or I'm not liking this, I'm not liking that. Someone always makes a comment on one of the recent videos saying, oh, I'm so glad I found you guys. Oh, I really love this conversation. And so those things kind of help me feel like, okay, so what we're doing is actually working. Like, we may not have like the hits and the subscriber count of some of the more salacious or more salacious, I guess, podcasts that have a lot more outgoing hosts than us. But having those people that watch and actually listen to us, I appreciate that, because I don't want people to just kind of subscribe and never watch. Like, I want to have a platform where people come to the show to look forward to seeing us. They watch our shows, listen to us, take our content and what we talk about, and learn something new. It's like we say at the end of every show. Well, we hope that you've learned something new today, and that has not changed. And I'm looking forward to what me and Darius can do together with this format going into the next season, because there will definitely be a season 5. So don't worry about what I just said earlier. We're definitely going to try to take this thing to the next level. But this is early in this season right now. So we're looking forward to what we've got in store. We've got some great episodes recorded already too. So you will definitely want to stay tuned to what we'll be talking about. Just to give you a little preview of what we've talked about. We've had some content creators on, some big content creators actually in the space. And we're going to be talking about relationships and what people bring to the table. Is it always going to be a 50-50 dynamic if you get a boyfriend or get married? So I'm looking forward to y'all seeing those conversations and chiming in on those debates. All right. So with that, remember that this conversation that you're having with me does not stop here. So please, please, please follow us on social media. Listen to our playlists that we have. Make sure that you reach out to us if there's any questions. We've got askjustdraws@gmail.com. You can send any type of comments or questions there, or advice, because we're going to be doing another advice show. So if you've got anything that you would like me or Darius to assist with, along with some guests, we've got that going on as well. So until then, just be bold, just be beautiful, and most importantly, just be vulnerable. We will catch you next time. Peace.
Make sure you subscribe and share the show, because the algorithm only listens when you all make noise.
Follow us on social media, tap in with the community, and keep the conversation going.
We look forward to seeing you and
hearing from you. Peace.